a special edition here on a Saturday over here at the car show here in Struthers, Ohio, the second annual car show 101 for the Boy Scout Troop 101 here in Struthers, Ohio. We've been invited out here by Dale and the Scoutmaster out here. His name is Jeff. We're going to have them on briefly here as well to discuss their projects here and what's going on. But just an absolutely beautiful sunny day, not a cloud in the sky. It's about 80 degrees and we have no shade, but you know what? Car shows aren't about shade. They're about some hot cars. And I'll tell you what, there's some beautiful cars out here. James, what say you over there?
Oh, we got some beautiful hot rods, and we just heard a little bit of testing not too long ago for the roar contest for all these cars and see who has the loudest car here at the show. So it's a beautiful day. You know what? You can't blame. I'd rather have sun than have rain. So I got nothing to worry about here.
Yeah, sunny skies, blue skies. That's the way to be here. We're gonna have some people on here discussing some special projects that are dear to the hearts. The B.R.A.K.E.S program, and we're also going to be talking to the Scoutmaster here. I guess his name is Jeff, right?
Yes.
Jeff, tell us a little bit about the car show and what it's all about here. And tell us about your Boy Scout Troop 101.
Well, we're Boy Scout Troop 101 from Struthers, Ohio. And last year we had our first car show. It just helps raise money to help pay for the kids to go to summer camp and do other activities we do, because we go camping every month, year-round, rain, shine, or snow. So it's a good way to raise some money. And we've been around for a long time. I think we were started in the 40s, so
wow,
going on 80 years.
That's incredible.
I'm not 80 years old.
No? you don't look a day above 20, sir.
Thanks.
Well, where did the idea for the car show begin?
Well, the gentleman that ran had a car show here, Joe. I don't remember his last name is because it's really long and hard to pronounce. But he did a car show here for a fundraiser, and him and Dale Gottberg, which is one of our assistant scoutmasters, got together and started talking about it, and that lit the spark. And then assistance from the community has been fantastic. People donating and sponsorship and everything. So once that ball got rolling, you couldn't stop it. And then now we're here again this year.
Good deal.
On a beautiful day and lots of beautiful cars.
Great.
Couldn't have asked for a better day, could you?
Nah, it's great.
So tell us about some of the projects you guys are working on here with your Boy Scout troop.
Well, we do a lot of service. Like, for instance, last weekend we sent a bunch of boys out to the Campfield Fair to help the Korean War vets set up their tents. And we do a lot of work in Gun Club. Some of us are members of Lowville Rod and Gun Club, and we've been going out there and trading service to the Gun Club for a place to camp in the winter. They like to do that. And then the Rotary in Struthers, if you've rode around, you've seen all the flags in people's yards. Yeah. We go out and put their flags up and take them down, and they got 300 flags, so that takes us like a whole day to go put up all the flags and take them down. But that's another thing we do. But you're supposed to have half fun and half service.
It's all about having fun, especially for the young guys trying to.
That's why we go camping. Our next camp out's a bike. We're gonna do a bike run up in the Cuyahoga National Forest. Go biking.
Hopefully the weather is as good then as it is today.
Well, see, that's the thing about Boy Scouts. It doesn't matter if it rains or snows, because they don't care.
They'll still have a good time.
They never complain about it.
Now, the age range of your boys in the Boy Scouts, what
Boy Scouts start at 11 and
Okay.
go till you turn 18. We have a huge Cub Scout pack. We have about 50 kids in our Cub Scout pack. That's first grade till you turn 11. So we covered everything from first grade till you're done in high school. And then we actually have another group. There's one of the girls that's sitting at that table right there. There's two of them here today. There are girls that are part of Boy Scouts. They're in a group called Venturing, which is co-ed, and you're 13 till you turn 21. So we have some kids in that. We have a small venture crew, and their primary mission is teaching. So they actually come in and teach the little kids and the older boys different skills. Like they actually taught map and compass to them. The girls were teaching it. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for coming over and sharing some stuff with us here. Feel free to take some of our stickers.
I'll take a sticker.
Take a sticker and
Take one of these green ones.
there you go. You have a car out here today?
No, I do, but you wouldn't want to look at it. I'd rather look at the other ones.
There you go. There you go.
My theory of trucks is that they should be dirty.
There you go.
I like that idea. The dirtier it shows where you've been and what this guy can do.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not a car washing type person. I'm a car user.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. And
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, check us out once we get this posted.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Thanks. All right, that was Jeff, the Scoutmaster, for Troop 101, right here in Struthers, Ohio. Well, let's talk a little bit about one of our favorite topics, and that's what's wrong with sports.
I don't talk about that very often, do I, Greg?
It's just a common gripe that we have, and I'm going to call this segment the Cruel Shoes segment. You ever see the Steve Martin movie where he talks about the cruel shoes?
It's been a while, but yes.
You know what? And we're going to call this the Cruel Shoes segment. And you know what? There's been some decent people that have worn those cruel shoes. Jim Trussell has worn the cruel shoes. Joe Paterno, God rest his soul, has worn those cruel shoes. And yes, sadly, today we're talking about Lance Armstrong, who just put the cruel shoes on about 48 hours ago when he came out with his admission that he's not going to fight the doping charges anymore. James, I'll let you lead off on this segment here.
This is devastating as anything else, because from the sounds of it, quote me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like an appeal process was not going to be possible again. He could have tried to fight it, but the United States Anti-Doping Agency was not going to allow a formal appeal through them, which again, this is now at least the second time in recent memory where an agency has said, no, you will not be able to appeal. And then Lance Armstrong comes out and says, you know what, I've had enough of this nonsense. That's exactly how he worded it. This is all nonsense, that they've been fighting him, they've been trying to take him down since he started winning the Tour de France back in 1999. It's been now 13 years of fighting against it, and he just says enough is enough. And honestly, I can't say I blame him, but now it sounds like he'll lose his Olympic medal, his 7 Tour de France titles, and is banned from cycling ever again.
Cycling, and also becoming a triathlete as well, which is something that he was actually looking forward to actually becoming after he got out of the cycling end of things. The thing that kind of gets me about all this is the fact that this is a guy, I mean, granted, he's no saint by any means. I mean, he has his fair share of skeletons in the closet, as do a lot of high-profile people. But this is a guy that started an organization called Livestrong to go out there and fight cancer, and you see thousands of people wearing the Livestrong bracelets, and you just have to start thinking, what's that going to do to cancer research? What's that going to do for those people who are fighting cancer, who look to him as an inspiration after he came back from a terminal case of testicular cancer, of all things?
And that's what's going to be interesting in the aftermath of all this. Will people take his dropping the fight, will they take that as an admission of guilt, or will they take it as he claims it to be, just, I'm done trying to fight it, it's not worth the stress that it's put on me and my family? What way will they take it? If they take it that way, then you won't see much difference at all. And I think the immediate results are exactly that, because if I get my numbers right here, it sounds like the donations are up 25 times for Lance Armstrong's Livestrong charity in the last 48 hours.
Wow.
So it sounds like the immediate response is that of, we support Lance, or maybe we don't support Lance, but we support what he's done for others. They're supporting the Livestrong. Nike has come out and said we still support him for what he does in the charity. So I think that's bigger than 7 titles, because like I've said in other podcasts and in other sporting scenarios, whether they repeal victories, they repeal titles like that, you cannot argue to me that Lance did not win those 7 Tour de France. I'm going to remember watching him win 7 Tour de France titles. You can't tell me he didn't do that.
Oh, no, you can't. But on the same token, there's a certain thing called integrity as well. And if you don't have the integrity, you share in the glory. You see this all the time, people lying on their resumes, people attaining positions that they have no qualifications for. And we live in a society today where it's easy to basically doctor something up, and if you are a halfway good communicator, you can bluff your way into a position. If the person is doing a good thing with that position, I don't know. I mean, this is where you start to wonder, okay, and maybe this is something that's just kind of caught up to Lance Armstrong and said, look, these things are going to be dogging me forever. Maybe he's right. Maybe he has never tested like that. Or there again, maybe he did dope. But if he did dope, I would like for him to come out and say, hey, look, I screwed up. I doped. I'd rather him come out and do that than to just basically give up the fight and not have any explanation on this whatsoever.
Yeah, I think everybody would like to hear a more definitive answer, because we've seen it before. The court of public opinion is worth more than anything else, and by him essentially pleading the fifth, people are going to make their own assumptions, and they're going to assume the worst, because that's what the general population does. And you hope that he does, make a decision one way or the other, in terms of saying, yes, I absolutely did, no, I absolutely didn't. You don't want it to be a Pete Rose thing 30 years down the road where he said, you know what, I'm sick of this, yes, I actually did bet on baseball. So it's too sad. Another sad story. Here's what I find interesting, though. The World Cycling Union, I believe is what it's called, said they will not comment on whether or not they will still recognize Lance as a Tour de France champion or anything else. They will not comment until they hear more reasoning from the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency about why they think those 7 titles should be repealed. So I think that's an interesting part that you're going to have to hear more about in the next, probably in the next few days, next week.
Right. So. The other thing, too, is I hope the World Cycling Organization stands by their own by rules and regulations. It's them that granted him those victories. It wasn't the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency that granted them.
Exactly.
And not that I'm not a Floyd Landis fan by any means, because Floyd Landis did dope, and he did do things the wrong way. But you take a look at somebody like Usain Bolt, who people are saying, oh, he's got higher than normal levels of testosterone in his system. Well, it's been a proven study that sprinters have a higher amount of testosterone in their system than other sports figures that are out there. It's just part of the makeup of people in the sport.
To the point that if Usain Bolt tried out for the Dallas Cowboys next week, it is very likely that he would not pass the drug test because it would look like he has a testosterone, human growth hormone type thing in his system.
Right. So with that said, there are people out there that perhaps have a higher than normal testosterone level. Lance Armstrong had testicular cancer. And where is testosterone? Where is it manufactured? It's manufactured in the pituitary gland and also in the
testicular region.
Thank you. The middle region. But nonetheless, it's possible that maybe this is all about. And what I really find troublesome is every August there's a witch hunt, and every August the scandal breaks. 2 years ago it was Jim Tressel. 3 years ago it was Michael Vick. This past year it was Joe Paterno and Jerry Sandusky. Granted, that was a really, really bad thing that happened out there, but the court of public opinion just runs amok with the news stories that are out there, and it's just a real unfortunate situation because good people do get run over. Not that I'm saying Lance Armstrong's a good person, but I'm not saying he's a bad guy either, because he's doing a lot of good things out there for people.
He's doing lots of great things, and you don't see, millions upon millions of those yellow wristbands out there for no reason.
That's right. That's right.
Well, what do you say we take a quick break? When we come back, we'll continue to discuss. There's other things that are wrong with sports. We could talk about that for hours upon hours. But also, we're going to have a quick fantasy football two-person mock draft, just to talk about, call it mock draft version 2.5, as we're talking, what to expect in your draft. We actually, Greg and I, have a draft later on today, the official 3SN 360 Sports Network draft. So we'll call this our practice for our draft later today, and we'll call it our last mock draft for you, the fans, of what to expect as you're going through those draft rounds.
There you go. We'll be back in a few.
Need a place to go to watch the game? Looking for a great game day atmosphere that hosts great food, great service, and the most variety of craft beer in town? Then come on down to the Green Room Bar and Grill in Newcastle. where the beer is always cold and the best wings are right here. The specials every night, there's always a good deal waiting for you at the Crane Room. Come out on Mondays for $2 23-ounce domestic drafts from 7 to 9. Tuesdays, burger nights. Enjoy $5 burgers from 7 to 9 p.m. Of course, if pasta's your gig, Wednesday's your night. Pasta night goes bonanza. Thursday, it's pound for pound wings all night at $2 domestic drafts from 7 to 9. And mixed drinks are half off every Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. And Saturdays, from 7 to 9, it's $1 off draft beers. And for every Pirates game this year, enjoy a 23-ounce Icy Light for just $2. Whether it's to watch the game, at the bar, enjoy a night out at the outdoor patio, or sit down with your honey for dinner at the restaurant, the Crane Room has everything that you need. So come on down to the Crane Room, bar and grill. Get your fix on wings, sports, and beer. Just off Route 18 in beautiful, sunny Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
The 360 Sports Network is not a blog. We are a network, a collaboration of websites, blogs, radio stations, restaurants, and more. We are a group created by the fans, for the fans. Whatever the fans feel is newsworthy in the world of sports, we talk about it. We believe that everybody is a fan and everyone is an analyst. That's the whole 360 concept. We invite all fans to join in the 360 Sports Network by posting on the website directly, 360sportsnetwork.com, or by linking their posts to the collaborative network. You can be a part of the show tonight by tweeting us at 3S Network, or by tweeting Alex and James directly at 3SNDLab and at 3SN. Thank you for your interest in the 360 Sports Network. We'll be back to 3SN live in a moment, but first it's time for a 3SN Sports Break. Performance-enhancing drugs are making the headlines in the world of sports this week. The United States Anti-Doping Agency has declared they have officially stripped Lance Armstrong of his 7 Tour de France titles and his Olympic medal after Armstrong dropped doping charges that had been against him for years. Said Armstrong, "I am finished with this nonsense." The International Cycling Union said on Friday they will wait to comment until the USADA explains why Armstrong should lose his titles. Major League Baseball has handed out a pair of 50-game suspensions themselves to big-name players for using performance-enhancing drugs. San Francisco outfielder and All-Star Game MVP Melky Cabrera, as well as Oakland pitcher Bartolo Colon, are accepting their punishments and will be out the rest of the regular season and into the playoffs. While the big leagues are battling for playoff positions and a shot at the World Series, the Little League World Series is already coming to a close at Williamsport. Japan and Panama will battle today at 12:30 in the international final, while Goodlettsville, Tennessee will battle against Petaluma, California in the United States final. Both games are rematches of earlier battles at Williamsport, with Japan winning 4-1 and Tennessee winning 9-6. The winners of these games will battle in the World Series Championship game tomorrow at 3 o'clock. It's a big weekend for NFL fans as the third week of preseason action takes place. Most starting lineups are playing the entire first half of games this week, and the biggest news is 6 starting rookie quarterbacks. Nick Foles threw for 2 touchdowns in place of injured Mike Vick for the Eagles. Meanwhile, Brandon Weeden went 9 for 20 for 117 yards and a fumble last night in the Browns' loss to the Eagles. He's still battling for the starting job with Colt McCoy, who went 7 for 9 with a touchdown. Russell Wilson looked outstanding in Seattle's 44-14 victory over Kansas City last night, going 13 for 19 for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. His main competition, Matt Flynn, did not suit up for the game. Ryan Tannehill has been named as the Dolphins' opening day starter, but he had a tough game last night against the Falcons, going 11 for 27 for 112 yards and an interception in a 23-6 loss to the Falcons. Other rookie quarterbacks, Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin III, will face off today in their last real tune-up for both teams before the regular season begins. And this will also be the last look for fans to see how their fantasy teams will stack up before the regular season begins. Be sure to check out the 3SN virtual draft guide and customizable cheat sheets to help your team be top of the line. And that's it for the 3SN Sports Break. Be sure to tweet into the show at 3S Network with all your comments and fantasy football questions. Now back to 3SN Live.
Sports Network, we are proud to have a person who is a really, really compelling story that she's going to tell us. She's with the B.R.A.K.E.S program that Doug Herbert has put together. Doug Herbert, of course, for all of you NHRA fans, needs no introduction, and we hope to have him on a special podcast, all of his own, to talk about the B.R.A.K.E.S program as well. But with me today is Sam. And Sam, she has a truck out here in memory of her daughter who was killed by a reckless driver.
Well, it was really not a reckless driver, but it was a detour sign blocking a stop sign, and it just happened.
It was just a horrible situation.
Yeah.
And Sam, tell me about the whole thing, what got you involved with this program, and what we can do here to promote your program here as well.
Well, when my daughter passed away, it was really hard for me to cope and deal with the outside world after she had passed, because my daughter had been through a lot with me, and she was my best friend, and she was my angel, alive or not. You know, she's always been my angel. And these guys that do this are amazing.
They are.
They are just
Truly.
wonderful, wonderful people. They really are. I mean, true at heart, everything. Even the instructors and everything. Every person that works with B.R.A.K.E.S has lost a family due to a vehicle.
Wow.
Matt's mother-in-law was killed walking across the street because there was a 17-year-old texting on her phone.
Yeah.
Never saw her and hit her.
How long has
Yeah.
B.R.A.K.E.S been? How long is the B.R.A.K.E.S program?
2008.
Again? 2008. I couldn't
Yeah,
remember.
because I couldn't understand how Doug could go from losing both his boys and then starting a program like that within the same year. It was just like,
Well, I think in a situation like that, it's probably therapy for him more than
well, then
anything else.
that's basically what got me off my ass and
Right.
started.
Because you can sit there and feel horrible about the situation where you do something about
Yeah.
it. And this is something you know that your daughter would want you to do.
Yeah, and I raised my daughter by myself for 13 years, so I was kind of lost. Even though I was married to a great guy, you know, my husband's awesome. We were married 3 years when she passed away. But still, you know, raising her, you know, when you have that kind of a connection with the child, when it's just you and them,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
There's
was
something
just-
to be said about single parenthood and the connection that's made between
Yeah.
the child and the primary parent itself.
It's an amazing bond.
Yeah. And then
But-
to lose somebody like that so tragically.
Well, she lived for 3 days.
Wow. After the
And
accident.
yeah, when I got to the hospital, she was awake still.
All right. So tell me about the accident. What happened now? She was.
She was a passenger, backseat passenger in a car with 3 of her friends, and the girl driving had never driven up that road before, and it was less than a mile from my house,
Wow.
and she had never driven up that way before, and there was a detour sign blocking a stop sign, and the girl went right through the stop sign, and the truck coming down never hit their brakes and hit them, doing about 49 miles an hour.
So the truck that ran the stop sign never saw the stop
No, she ran
sign.
the stop
She ran
sign
the stop sign
because she didn't see it
Never-
because of the detour sign.
You know, and that just goes back to
Yeah, it was a tragedy because 2 boys, you know, one of my daughter's best friends and her boyfriend died at the scene. You know, and fortunately my daughter did not remember any of it. You know, didn't even remember the boys were there. So when I got to the hospital, she was awake. All she asked me about was the driver, and I lied to her and I told her you weren't with her because I didn't want her to remember the boys because she's seen it all.
Right.
You know, and I didn't want her. I told her that we would talk about it when she got better, but honestly, 5 minutes after I was in the room, I knew she wasn't going to make it. Just a gut instinct.
I'm so sorry.
you know, but-
sorry to hear that.
Well, I got granted something a lot of parents don't get granted. I got to lay with her on the bed and hold her and, you know, be with her. Whereas the other 2, their parents had to hear it over the phone, you know.
Yeah, nobody ever wants to ever go through that type of tragedy.
No.
Now the B.R.A.K.E.S program itself, you sponsored the B.R.A.K.E.S program. You raised $20,000 to have it in this particular area.
Yeah.
Okay, and the area that this covers is basically eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania?
B.R.A.K.E.S covers all of America.
Okay.
All of America. Wherever you want them to go, they will go.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I got them up in Beaver Falls.
Beaver Falls.
Yeah, Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, last year on the 5th year anniversary of my daughter's accident. So.
Okay. And this is a program that basically teaches kids defensive driving skills?
Oh, yeah, it's an awesome program. They go through the slaloms, they go through skid pads, they go through distractive driving. I mean, I've never in my life seen a bunch of grown men turn into the age of 13 so quickly when they're in the distractive, this distracted part, because they change their tone and everything and try to distract them from their driving. And I mean, it's just nuts. They'll turn the music up, play with the cell phone,
Now, all of us at one point in time or another had gone through driver's ed in school. And
this is what they don't teach you in driver's ed.
Right, and that's probably the stuff that they should teach in driver's ed because...
Well, honestly, I think the school is limited to what they can teach, because this is such an extensive program. They have 2 classes each day, and they cover approximately around 50, students a class, and I don't know if the schools have the ability to do that. You know what I mean? They teach you the basics, what you need to know to pass your test, to get on the street, road, or whatever. Doug and his crew go way beyond that.
Well, it's basically advanced driver's training, which is absolutely needed, I think, considering that you see people texting while driving, people putting on makeup while driving, people eating, drinking,
changing their clothes.
While driving.
What they're supposed to be doing is paying attention to the road.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your story, Sam, and we hope to have Doug Herbert and Matt Riley on a special podcast about the B.R.A.K.E.S program. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and basically being a crusader for such a great cause. God bless you.
Thank you.
Do you have a unique fantasy football league setup? Do the draft guides and cheat sheets available not provide you with any help because they're only for a standard league? Well, it's time for that to change. 360 Sports Network provides you with a free, personalized, and customized fantasy football cheat sheet so that you can dominate your league no matter what the scoring system is set up. You enter the league settings, then use our projected stats or statistics projected on your own, and in seconds you have the perfect draft guide for your league's unique setup. So stop using cheat sheets that don't represent how your league runs. Go to 360sportsnetwork.com to download your free customizable cheat sheets and dominate your league.
Need a place to go to watch the game? Looking for a great game day atmosphere that hosts great food, great service, and the most variety of craft beer in town? Then come on down to the Crane Room Bar and Grill in Newcastle, where the beer is always cold and the best wings are right here. The specials every night, there's always a good deal waiting for you at the Crane Room. Come out on Mondays for $2 23-ounce domestic drafts from 7 to 9. Tuesdays, burger nights. Enjoy $5 burgers from 7 to 9 p.m. Of course, if pasta's your gig, Wednesday is your night as pasta night goes bonanza. Thursday, it's pound for pound wings all night at $2 domestic drafts from 7 to 9, and mixed drinks are half off every Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. And Saturdays, from 7 to 9, it's $1 off draft beers. And for every Pirates game this year, enjoy a 23-ounce Icy Light for just $2. Whether it's to watch the game, at the bar, enjoy a night out at the outdoor patio, or sit down with your honey for dinner at the restaurant, the Crane Room has everything that you need. So come on down to the Crane Room Bar and Grill. Get your fix on wings, sports, and beer. Just off Route 18 in beautiful, sunny Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
The 360 Sports Network is not a blog. We are a network, a collaboration of websites, blogs, radio stations, restaurants, and more. We are a group created by the fans, for the fans. Whatever the fans feel is newsworthy in the world of sports, we talk about it. We believe that everybody is a fan and everyone is an analyst. That's the whole 360 concept. We invite all fans to join in the 360 Sports Network by posting on the website directly, 360sportsnetwork.com, or by linking their posts to the collaborative network. You can be a part of the show tonight by tweeting us at 3S Network, or by tweeting Alex and James directly at 3SNDLab and at 3SN. Thank you for your interest in the 360 Sports Network. Now back to 3SN Live.
Here after taking a brief water break here over at the Troop 101 car show here at beautiful, sunny Struthers, Ohio. And we're going to talk a little bit of fantasy football since drafts are happening as we speak. And this is probably going to be the last unofficial mock draft 2.59612 or whatever we want to call this one. Or
Wherever we are at this point.
Exactly. But let's kind of go through a brief 1 through 10 scenario. We'll take you through 10 rounds. How's that?
That works.
And then after 10 rounds, it's all value picks anyway.
Exactly.
There you go. So, James, you're drafting first pick in a mock draft.
We'll say just for ease sake that we'll make this a 10-team league just so we can be consistent, standard scoring, all that jazz.
There you go.
I have the number 1 pick. Who do I take? Well, obviously it's a running back. It's got to be one of the top 3, whether it's Rice, Foster, or McCoy can be your personal preference. A lot of leagues that'll go PPR make me want to take Ray Rice, and I think even with not, I got to take Ray Rice off the board, number 1. Because of the ability to catch away from to catch passes, not only get the rushes but catch passes too. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Well, if I'm coming in, let's say at a number 2 pick after following a hot number 1 pick like that, I still have to stay running back to be consistent with the mad scientist philosophy that I run. And I'm looking at a guy that's basically has shown pay dirt continuously. And I'm looking at Arian Foster. But with Arian Foster, you also have to take a look at handcuffs as well. So you know where I'm going with this one again. So you put me down there for Arian Foster.
Arian Foster goes number 2. All right. Number 3, well, the one big running back who's left, you can't pass up Shady McCoy here. Some people are worried that he's going to have less touches because, well, that's what the coaches say. I don't believe it because the only person behind him who's going to run is Dion Lewis, who is short and injury prone. McCoy's going to get plenty of touches. He goes number 3.
Okay. Now, if I'm in the 4th position drafting, I'm in the middle of a 10-man league, and I'm right in the middle, and I see my top 3 premium running backs being taken, I may just go out on a limb and pick up Megatron.
So you're going to go with Calvin at number 4, and I think that is a very good pick at that point because wide receivers are very, well, they're not very strong after Megatron. So to get that number 1 is pretty good.
Yeah, you definitely have to have the, you need the wow potential, and that's where you have to go with that.
Well, I'm thinking along the same lines. If I'm in that number 4 or 5 pick, those top 3 running backs are gone. I'm looking to get a top guy like Calvin Johnson, but if he's gone, I got to go with Aaron Rodgers at the number 5 spot to get that top quarterback. And again, know your system because you could be getting 6 points per touchdown there.
That's right. Well, if that's the case then, and we're looking at the wow factor, of course, and the first round, you have to take a look. Obviously, you looked at Aaron Rodgers. You also have to take a look at, I would say, Tom Brady in that top position as well. Only because you're drafting in the middle and you need to have something solid.
So Tom Brady will go in the number 6 spot.
That's correct.
All right, looking at number 7, you can be thinking along the same lines. I'm considering whether to go with a quarterback if I was at this spot and get Drew Brees to get that start. But I think right here I want to try to get a solid running back here because Drew Brees, no matter he can't match last year. I'm not sure of that. I'm going to say at the number 7 spot. I'm going to want to go with a double running back combo. Get one here, try to get one coming through who's still solid. And at this point, I'm going to pick... see, this is tough. Each one of the next few guys on the list has something to worry about. Right here, I'm going to go... It might be a bit of a risk, but I'm going to take Chris Johnson.
Okay. And why?
I'm going to take Chris Johnson because I've liked what I've seen so far. He has a year to make up for what he's done last year. He's had the whole off season to get back in shape. And honestly, I like what I see from Jake Locker. He's actually going to make... You're not going to be able to put 10 guys in the box like you did against him last year as well. So it all combines together that I think Chris Johnson is a safe pick at number 7.
Okay. At number 8, kind of following along the same thought pattern here, obviously you're going to see a drop-off in the running backs. Obviously, this is your first-round pick. I'm still going to stay with the quarterback at this particular time frame. I'm going to take a look at Matt Stafford again, only because he's throwing to Megatron. And Stafford has put up some really, really gaudy numbers in 2011. 2011 was the year that he did stay healthy. And you can be rest assured that they're going to keep him healthy in 2012. So I have Stafford as a number 1 pick here in the late rounds.
All right. Seeing now that 3 quarterbacks have gone before, I think down some of the 9 spot gets a little nervous, and I would as well. And I'd look to take Drew Brees with that number 9 spot. Making 4 quarterbacks going in the first round, which is very unconventional for our personal draft strategy, but definitely not unconventional for what you're going to see come your draft day.
Well, and once again, the reason why it's a bit unconventional is because we're talking first round now, draft, and we're talking in a 10-man league, and there aren't that many running backs out there that have that wild potential. There's a lot of guys out there that are close to that, but can you justify a number 1 pick on somebody that...
Well, look at the guys we have. Jones, Drew, Forte, McFadden, Lynch, Ryan Matthews injured, Peterson injured.
Right.
Lots of question marks there.
Exactly.
All right, Greg, you got the number 10 and 11 back-to-back. Who do you take?
Oh, wow. 10 and 11. That's a tough position, but it's also a really, really good position to be at. I would definitely take a look at going with a running back at the number 10 spot. Definitely taking a look at Darren Sproles.
If you're in a PPR league, I think for sure.
Definitely. Of course, you need to know your league. And then my back-to-back, I think at this particular time frame, I'd really be taking a look at a quarterback and somebody that's going to be consistent, that's going to get you the points that you need, would be somebody like a Cam Newton.
So he goes Sproles and Newton, and I definitely agree with the Sproles pick, especially if it's a PPR league.
Right.
For sure.
If it's a standard league, you would, once again though, in a standard league, you need to take a look and see, who else is available. Somebody like Jones Drew, perhaps, but there's still a lot of question marks out there, so you definitely want to see, what's going on with that one before you jump on somebody like that.
Well, it won't be long before we get Jones Drew off the board here, I'm sure. Yeah. All right, coming back through, picked Breeze in the first round. You definitely need to get a running back at this point. This is where I see somebody like Forte going off the board. The reason he didn't go earlier is the question of how many touchdowns he'll get with a goal line back and Michael Bush behind him.
Okay, chugging along here, with that said, we have Chris Johnson already off the boards. We try to take a look at somebody like Ryan Matthews, provided that he's healthy.
Which they're saying he should be, maybe not by week 1, but by week 2 he should be good to go. Let's see. Next, this guy's already got a running back at the number 7 spot. He might look to go with a second running back. At this point, I definitely would as well because there's still quality guys on the board. Chris Johnson is going to be steady. No matter which way he goes, he's going to be steady. So this is where you can look to take a risk. This is where I see Jones Drew falling off the board. It's a bit of a risk, but you got the quality already ahead of him.
There you go. I see Trent Richardson following suit right underneath a Tom Brady pick there. You definitely want to have somebody that's going to be a value running back, and that's somebody that's going to be featured there in the Cleveland offense, especially with Brandon Wheaton manning the helm over there.
All right, definitely another running back. They're gonna fall off the board in a hurry. This is where I see McFadden going off the board, and a nice 1-2 punch of Rogers and McFadden. And I don't think you have to worry about injury too much this year with McFadden, but that is the concern that keeps him down this far.
Okay. Going back, we have Calvin Johnson, Megatron, as the pick number 1 on the 4th team there, so we're going back down the boards. I'm looking at DeMarco Murray as a nice compliment to Megatron.
So DeMarco Murray. So now we're back to those guys who had the first 3 picks, who've already picked a solid running back. Now we need to see, do you take a second running back, or do you go at another need position? I think right here at number 3, I think this is where you see that second wide receiver start to go off the board. I think this is where Larry Fitzgerald falls. Again, the question, who's going to throw him the ball? I think it's going to be Skelton at this point, and that's got to be a bit scary, but he's still Larry Fitzgerald. He's still a super freak out there.
Okay. Going to the number 2, we have Arian Foster as the primary pick. You need to start taking a look at... I would also say a primary receiver, but also a quarterback at this particular time frame. And I think somebody along the lines of a Phillip Rivers would fall nicely into that. Phillip Rivers can get you a lot of yards passing. He gets a lot of garbage points out there as well.
I think it might be a little early for Rivers at that spot, but definitely a solid pick to get that quarterback. If I had the number 1 pick and I got Ray Rice, I got arguably the number 1 running back. At this point, I'm getting another number 1. If he falls this far, I would love to be able to get Gronkowski at this spot. Honestly, he could go a couple picks earlier, if not at the end of the first round, beginning of the second round in most leagues. So Gronkowski will go by this point, and I also think because it's going to be so long before you get your next pick, at this spot you need to get your second running back. And right here, I see, with Ray Rice going to be consistent, I see another risk that this guy could be a top 5 running back for sure. This is where Peterson falls off the board.
Okay. Coming back up the board here, we have Foster, we've got Rivers at the quarterback position, and I'm looking for somebody that's going to give me that high-impact wow factor, Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham would be my pick for the tight end. That's kind of high to bring a tight end, but somebody like Jimmy Graham, I think that's just about right.
They could go even higher, both Gronk and Graham, for sure. Coming through again, thinking it's going to be a while, I think you need to get your second running back at this point for this team. You got McCoy already, and now you're also going to get, looking at bye weeks as well, got to keep an eye on that. I think this is where you'll see Marshawn Lynch go off the board. Again, you have to worry about certain things, including possible suspension, but I think Marshawn Lynch is the pick here in the early 3rd round.
Okay, moving up to team number 4, we have Calvin Johnson, we got DeMarco Murray. I am looking at getting myself a quarterback that's going to put myself in a nice position, and Ben Roethlisberger, I think, falls nicely into that. He's a little high for him, maybe, but you have to look at it this way. He's got a lot of targets to throw to. He's got some exciting receivers out there, and I think he's going to have...
and a more pass-happy coordinator as well, correct?
Exactly. So,
moving forward, you got a running back, you got a quarterback already. I think this is where you will see the next wide receiver go off the board. I think Roddy White is the pick here. You're getting a nice balanced team, A-Rod, White, and McFadden. Excuse me.
Okay, moving along here, we've got Tom Brady and we've got Trent Richardson here with team number 5, right? Six. Team number 6, thank you. I'm looking at picking up myself another wide receiver, and I see somebody like Victor Cruz. Cruise control coming into play there.
Victor Cruz, some people will actually pick his teammate before him, but I think that is a nice pick there, for sure. All right, this team's got 2 running backs already. They are going to look for a quarterback at this point, and this is where I see Eli Manning going off of the board. He
that
could go
soon?
That soon. Normally, I would say absolutely not, but Eli, you can't argue, is a good fantasy quarterback. And at this point, when there are 7 quarterbacks already off the board now, Eli Manning somebody who doesn't have a quarterback yet is going to panic and take him maybe a round earlier than he should.
You know, I have to give you the business on that one because we go round and round about Eli on this one. So
Always do, Greg. Always do.
I know. Alrighty, moving along here. We have a good quarterback and we've got a decent running back. We don't want to get shut out, but we do want to get some fantastic points. And I see Aaron Hernandez going off the board here.
So we have the second tight end from
New England.
From New England going off there. Yes. Very good. All right, number 9 pick. Already with a top tier quarterback and running back. I think he gets his second running back at this point. Let me check bye weeks real quick. Yes, you're good. I think Jamal Charles goes off the board here. Again, I worry a little bit about losing touches to Peyton Hillis, but I don't think it's bad enough to warrant him dropping any further. Jamal Charles is a good number 2 back to have.
Okay, moving along here to the number 10 spot. We got Sproles, and we've got who's our second guy?
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Okay, we definitely need another running back over here. And looking at what we have available, I'm seeing, wow.
We're starting to drop off in a hurry.
I'm seeing Willis McGahee falling into a nice position there.
So Willis McGahee for the first, and who for the second in that back-to-back?
And then for the second on the back-to-back, I'm looking at Vernon Davis.
Vernon Davis getting another tight end there off the board. Not so high on Antonio Gates, huh?
No.
We'll see where he ends up dropping in our rankings. All right, 2 running backs. This team definitely now needs to look at building up the wide receiver spot here. This is where I won't agree with the pick, but this is where you'll see him fall, if not earlier. This is where Andre Johnson falls. And I say I don't personally agree because of the injury concern. He hasn't played a full year in too long. So I like Andre Johnson falling there, though there might be somebody else I might want to take the risk on instead.
All right, being that there's such a large number of running backs that aren't that stellar right now, and once again, we're taking a look at value, and I am going to look at Greg Jennings in this position here. And what this does is having Greg Jennings, that basically shores up your receiving core, especially with Hernandez and Jennings. That's going to get you some good points.
Absolutely. Let's see. I think this team right here is in need of a wide receiver as well, and I think we look at Julio Jones for sure dropping at this spot. Some people are claiming he could be a second or first round quality draft pick this year, so getting him in the 4th round is as good value as you can get.
Okay, moving along here, we've got Trent Richardson, we've got Cruz. I think we need ourselves another running back, and this is where Frank Gore falls nicely.
Frank Gore is off the board. Also here, we are in need of a second running back as well. And I think we're looking at Michael Turner dropping off the board here, just as another good, solid number 2 running back that you can have.
You know, it's interesting that Michael Turner would fall this low, but they've got another guy over there by the name of Jacquizz Rodgers.
He's going to take a lot more touches than everybody thinks, and he's another one that I look to handcuff late on in the draft with your last round pick, is getting someone like Jacquizz.
Handcuffing the quiz show. No doubt about it. All right, well, taking a look here, we've got DeMarco Murray, we've got Ben Roethlisberger, we've got Calvin Johnson here on this particular team. We can go a number of different directions. What I would look at going with would be somebody like a Mike Wallace in this position to pair him up nicely with Big Ben.
It's a nice combo pick that we talk all about. Now you got 2 very great wide receivers, Calvin and Wallace, together, assuming that Wallace comes back and plays the way he should. Okay, we got 2 running backs and a wideout here. I might be looking to go with a quarterback at this point, but knowing that the 2 guys behind me, well, I guess one of the guys behind me has one, I'm willing to wait at this point. This is where I'm getting one of the top tight ends who is left. This is where I see Antonio Gates falling.
Okay, that's fair. I would move along here with, we've got Arian Foster, we've got Phillip Rivers, we've got Jimmy Graham. This is where I would have to take a look and say, okay, do we need a running back or what do we need? And at this particular time frame, we need a running back. I would pick up Bradshaw in this particular one.
Bradshaw, who rookie might be competing for some carries, but I think Bradshaw, it's his backfield to lose, so I think that's a smart pick. All right, at number 4, this is where I look at value again. Don't have a quarterback, don't have a wideout yet. This is where, though, I think you get the quarterback because there are a lot more good wide receivers you can get later. So I think Tony Romo falls first, and then in the second of this back-to-back, we're going to see a very interesting pick come up here. This is where I see Jermichael Finley. Yes, that is the second tight end for this team, but in a lot of leagues now, you're able to play those 2 tight ends, and having Gronkowski and Finley in my lineup every week is something I am very much looking forward to, especially when I have a Ray Rice and Adrian Peterson in my running backs. I'm liking Team A right now.
Okay. Team B, coming back up the board, is faced with an intriguing decision. You've got yourself a premier running back. You got yourself a good quarterback in Phillip Rivers. You've got Jimmy Graham as a fantastic tight end. You have Ahmad Bradshaw, which is a tier 1A quarterback. But you have to take a look at the value and what's on the board. And right now, I'd be willing to take the next best player available across the board, and that would be Peyton Manning.
That would be Peyton Manning for sure. So you're taking him as your backup quarterback at this point, huh?
Yes, I would. And actually, I might, depending upon what Phillip Rivers does, because he sometimes goes into a funk, he may be the primary.
He may be at that point. Quarterbacks are flying off the board at this point. So some people, myself included, who like to wait out on a quarterback are now starting to panic as to what to do next. Continuing, Team C.
360 Sports Network is broadcasting live today from the Post 101 second annual car show here in Struthers, Ohio at St. Nick's School. Stop on by for some great cars, the annual Roar competition, and see who wins Best in Show here at St. Nick's School, the second annual Post 101 car show at St. Nick's School in Struthers, Ohio.
All right, let's continue. Position C, still in need of a quarterback. At this point, they're all so equal. Ryan, Vic, Schaub, Cutler, they're all equal. I'm willing to wait still. This is where I see you getting Jordy Nelson as a second wide receiver to solidify that position some more.
There you go. Okay, this is the team number D, the 4th team in this mix. We have Megatron, we got Murray, Roethlisberger, we got Wallace. We are definitely in need of a decent running back again. And this is where I think somebody like Steven Jackson would fill the bill nicely.
Some people are taking him even earlier, and that's not a bad pick to have at this point at all. All right, what do we have here? I think we're also, at this point, going to look for a second wide receiver, possibly look tight end. But I think the receiving core, there's a couple guys who are really big. And again, maybe make... I like the sound of that going by. Take a little bit of a color pattern here. You got Roddy White, now you're taking A.J. Green.
Yeah. Okay. Moving along here, you have Julio off the board. You've got Eli Manning off the board. MJD. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a team ahead of myself.
You're trying to take my team,
I'm trying to take your team. How about that? Okay. Okay, so we got a good running back in Gore. We've got... we still need another good wide receiver, and I'm looking at.
You got Nix, you got Welker still on the board.
Welker, definitely Wes Welker. Who's this up here?
That's Hakeem Nicks is still on the board.
Oh, Hakeem Nicks. Okay, that's what that was.
Well, that's who's going off the board in the next pick as well, because at this point you also need your second wide receiver. That team is balancing out real nicely. 2 running backs, 2 wideouts to work with. So Wes Welker's off the board, and now Hakeem Nicks off the board.
Once again, pairing Wes Welker with Tom Brady.
Exactly.
Yep.
Good, another good combo pick you're making there.
Yep. All right, so we're moving along here. We've got Detroit's Stafford. There's your quarterback. You got Greg Jennings. You have Hernandez and Matthews. We need another running back. And this is where I see somebody like Reggie Bush falling in this position.
All right, down to the number 9 pick out here. We have a couple running backs already. Maybe looking at a third running back for that slash position, but I think the wide receivers are a little bit too good right now. And I think Brandon Marshall falling at this point is an unbelievable value pick to get to the end of the 5th round.
Okay. Taking a look here and seeing where everything is swollen here. We've got Vernon Davis, Willis McGahee, Cam Newton, and Darren Sproles. I could go one of several different directions. I think I need another quarterback since I'm going to be drafting back-to-back, and I see Matt Schaub falling nicely here.
All right, so Schaub is the first one as your backup quarterback. Who do you get as the second?
As my second guy, I definitely need another running back, and I'm looking at Isaac Redman.
Isaac Redman falls here, and hopefully Mendenhall doesn't come back. Otherwise, that pick could hurt big time later on in the year. But I think Redman has solidified that he will be the running back out there in Pittsburgh for sure. Coming back through, I think you could look at a backup here, a backup quarterback that is. I think that somebody's going to go and try to make a move at a tight end at this point too, though, to fill up a starting lineup. And I see Tony Gonzalez, Mr. Consistency himself, even at 36 years old, is the right pick for Team I here.
Okay. Going back here for Team H, we've got a running back in the last round. This is where I start trying to pick value picks once again here, and I'm starting to look. I see Marquise Colston sitting way out there, and he's definitely somebody that's going to get you some picks.
Colston, a nice pick right there. All right, Team G. I think you're looking to get a good guy to go in your slash position. At this point, I like a third running back as a good possibility with that. This is where I see the law firm falling. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis is going to get a boatload of touchdowns this year. He did it with New England, and Benson last year with Cincinnati did it. I see no reason why Green Ellis can't get less than 10 touchdowns.
Okay. We need somebody to complement Trent Richardson with Team F, and I see Fred Jackson. Fred's going to play a major role right now, even though he's got a little bit of competition out there. I think this is Fred's job to lose.
Good deal there. All right, I think we're looking to get a third wide receiver at this point because the running backs are starting to fall off in a hurry. I think that getting a good quality wide out here is a good pick to get the number 3 guy, and I look at Steve Smith of Carolina as the guy to get at this point in the draft. You have a great wideout staff right now of Roddy White, A.J. Green, and Steve Smith, hopefully to play all 3 in 1 week without too much difficulty.
Mm-hmm. Okay, looking at Team D. Team D is in need of looks like a second quarterback, and that's where I see somebody like, actually we have to take
Schaub's off the board at this point.
The board there. Jay Cutler would fall nicely there.
Yeah, Jay Cutler, I've gotten in a couple drafts in the 9th round. That's about as good value as you can get. Team C is without a quarterback. They're dropping like flies right now. They're going to take Matt Ryan at this point. They're going to pass on Mike Vick because of the lingering injury concerns and the fact he only plays 13 games a year anyway. So I'm not going to take that risk. I'm going to take Matt Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Team B. You've already got your 2 quarterbacks. You're in definite need of a running back, and at this particular time, they're pretty much all been taken off the board. You have somebody there in Roy Helu, which I think can give you, some good value out there. You're going to see RG3 handing it off quite a bit, I think.
Possibly running the option, you never know either. So that'll work. All right, couple running backs, couple tight ends. You're in need of a wideout or 2 here at this point. I think you're going to go back-to-back, both wideouts at this point here. I think you're going to first go, we're going to say Des Bryant will go at this point. Between Bryant and Miles Austin, I don't think there's too much difference, but we'll take the bigger upside of Des. And I think for that second one, I think we're going to go with, at this point, I think we're going to go with Percy Harvin, especially if we're looking at PPR League. Percy Harvin is going to do it all for Minnesota. I think Percy Harvin can be a nice pickup in a back-to-back situation there.
Interesting. All right. Well, once again, I'm going to need a little bit of help once again with the running game. Although you do have Peyton Manning out there throwing, and Demaryius Thomas although he's not a running back, he's going to get you a lot of yardage. So I see Demaryius Thomas falling into play here.
Demaryius Thomas becomes a great pick right there. All right, we're in round 7. My pick here. A couple different ways you can go, but you got the quarterback, you got a couple running backs, you got a couple wideouts, you got a tight end. This is where, if it were my draft and this was my team, this is where I take the 49ers off the board. And I know that you're looking at me like I am insane, but to get the number one defense, the 49ers are far and away that. They don't have a tough schedule at all beyond the first 2 weeks. Having the 49ers defense is the way to go. If I can get them, I'm getting them. At this point, though, for anybody else, I'm going to wait for a while.
Wow. Okay, well, with that note, wow. Something is going on here. It's somebody's horn stuck or there's a civil defense emergency. I'm not sure which.
I'm going to guess civil defense. And the emergency subsided just as quickly as it came.
Yeah, we're hoping. Anyway, with all that said, I'm looking at Jonathan Stewart falling into play right here because we're in need of a running back in this particular. We have Steven Jackson, and Jonathan Stewart is going to be the man down in Carolina.
Definitely. Definitely also, I think, going to look for another running back at this point. You're going to have your third running back coming off the board. You're going to have some great depth to work with. This is where I see a pick like Doug Martin being really smart because that could turn into a great pick, or he might not do as much, and if so, he'll be a slash play at best. So having him right there is about as good of a value pick as you can get.
Moving along, we've already picked up Freddie Jackson as a running back to pair up with Trent Richardson. So what I'm looking right now is for value, and I see Vincent Jackson on the board. And if Freeman is going to redeem himself, Jackson's going to be the guy that's going to redeem him.
Very good look here. All right, we got 3 running backs, got a couple wideouts, including a nice combo pick. I'm thinking right here, I'm looking to solidify, finish up the tight end here, at least get that taken care of. Jason Witten falls a little bit from where he could be with the spleen concern, but it sounds he should be back, so I'm not too concerned with that pick in round 7.
All right, moving along here, we've got Colston, we've got Bush, we've got Jennings. We've gone kind of heavy on the receiving core here. With that said, who's our quarterback? We got Stafford. We need a second quarterback at this particular time frame, and this is where I see Andy Dalton falling.
Already 16 quarterbacks taken. That might be a little high than your conventional league, just because a lot of people will either wait or won't take a backup. I've seen people who take Brady or Rodgers in the first round and not take a backup. You're very, very much a proponent of, I want a good backup quarterback.
Yeah, well, and once again, for those bye weeks, and also for the fact that who's going to get you the most number of points? Your running backs, then your quarterbacks. And I think there's a better spread of quarterbacks right now than there is of running backs.
Definitely. I'm looking the same way here. Do I take a wide receiver or do I get my backup? I think I get a wide receiver here just because the value is so high. Miles Austin dropping here is an absolute gift. I think Miles Austin is the pick.
Okay, and of course, team number 10 here, we've got ourselves two good running backs. Once again, we need value. This is where I see Dwayne Bowe falling.
Dwayne Bowe is a good pick. He's going to get touchdowns no matter who's throwing and no matter how bad the team's playing. Dwayne Bowe, a nice pick for sure.
Okay, and then moving along here, we have to take Demaryius Thomas off the board. We already have him
I
off.
keep missing guys here,
Yeah,
Greg. You're catching me.
There you are. Going back, this is where you have to start getting a little creative here. You have to start saying what's the best value and who's going to get you the most amount of points out there. Donald Brown would be a nice pickup here.
A starting running back this late in the draft is always going to be a very good value pick for sure. I'm thinking along the same lines here with one of my picks coming up in the near future. We'll get to that. I got him in the back of my mind. We'll find the right time. We got a quarterback. This is where I think this team needs the backup quarterback. You got Breeze, a solid pick. This is where you're able now to take a bit of a risk. This is where you take RG3. He's someone who can turn into a Cam Newton, and you might be playing him, or he could be trade bait later when you got Drew Brees already.
Okay. All right, well, let's see. We've got Stafford as our number one quarterback here, and we have Andy Dalton. So we're good with our 1-2 situation here. Where we're running a little bit thin right now is with running backs. and with wide receivers. And I would say Antonio Brown would fall nicely here under the wide receivers.
Antonio Brown, nice pick. Also thinking the same route, we need another wideout in the next pick. This is where Brandon Lloyd will fall off the table if he hasn't already, because Brandon Lloyd, some people are comparing him to Randy Moss's season from 2007.
They've been doing that for the past 2 seasons now.
That's true.
Okay, we're on a team now that's quarterbacked by Brady with Richardson and Freddie Jackson and Vincent Jackson. I'm also looking at the fact that I don't have a backup quarterback. And somebody like Joe Flacco would probably, well, yeah, we'll go Joe Flacco here. He's got a lot of decent targets to go to, and yeah.
Absolutely. Could be thinking the same route here. Don't have that backup yet. You also don't have a tight end at this point. You might want to take a look. You keep forgetting about him. Brandon Pettigrew falling in the 7th round, or 8th round, I'm sorry, is somebody I would be more than happy to get him in the 8th round.
Okay. With all that said now, we've got Calvin Johnson, DeMarco Murray, Ben Roethlisberger. We got Jay Cutler as our backup. We got Stewart. We can either look at a running back at this particular time frame or a wide receiver. I'm going running back only because they're getting to be a bit scattered, and I think Javid Best may be the best pick at this particular position. Just to compliment the Calvin Johnson.
You got to worry about running back out of committee. You got to worry about possible injury, but at this point you're also looking at who can do something for my team, and he definitely can. It's a bit of a risk, but all these picks at this point are going to have some sort of risk.
Well, you're in the 8th round now, too.
Exactly.
We're not looking at first.
Right, you're going to have some sort of risk by this point. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, I think you need a third running back at this point on this team as well, and again, it's tough to pass up somebody who's going to be starting. This is where Sean Green will fall.
Okay. Moving along here to Team B, we definitely have the 2 quarterbacks. We need another wide receiver out here, and I'm looking at Stevie Johnson from Buffalo falling into that category. He's Fitzpatrick's only favorite target.
Well, it helps when he's your only target that he is your favorite as well. That's for sure. Moving forward, all right, Romo's my starting quarterback. It's always going to worry me depending on how the team goes, so I'm getting a backup right now. I really like Alex Smith this year as a backup quarterback that I can plug in when I need to. He's got too many targets not to have. But that's the first pick, and then second of this back-to-back, I do need another running back here. I only have Rice and AP. I need another running back. You know what, I'm going to take a handcuff here. I'm going to take Toby Gerhart, just in case that AP need does not come out as well as I'd like. I'm going to take Toby Gerhart as a safety net.
Okay. Once again, we're talking about handcuffs. You got to take a look at Ben Tate with Arian Foster as our number 1 pick. Having Ben Tate will always help you. And I've actually seen Ben Tate and Arian Foster both being featured at the same time because as they take Arian out for a spell, Tate gets the garbage yards.
You see games where they're both over 100 yards, so yep. That's a very good pick to go there. All right, looking here, we also need a backup quarterback here. You got Matt Ryan, but I don't want to have to count on Matt Ryan every week. So I'm going to take a backup, and I'm really a big fan of Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think, again, with, again, like you said, Stevie Johnson may be his only target, but you also got C.J. Spiller catching balls out of the backfield, too. Fitzpatrick always gets you some good points.
Once again, though, you have to look at your league and decide, is he worth taking? If you only get Doc 1 point for an interception, yeah. But if you get Doc 3 or 4 points for an interception, you may want to consider somebody else.
You can win leagues with that type of quarterback.
Depending upon how the league structure.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, moving right along here, we've got... wow.
We're starting to look value picks here. We're getting down to the last couple rounds that we'll do before you get solely into value.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking at a team that's quarterbacked by Big Ben.
Jay Cutler also catching.
Jay Cutler. Who do we have left on the board here on the wide receivers? We've got Jeremy Maclin and Deshaun Jackson. I think Jeremy Maclin will fall nicely here.
A lot of people are picking Maclin ahead of Deshaun Jackson. I think Deshaun has the more upside, but Maclin may be the more consistent play to look at. And looking here, could get another one there, but I think this team, again, needs a backup quarterback. You got A-Rod, no problem there. Andrew Luck as a bit of a risk, but somebody who can bring big rewards later on. He's a solid backup who, again, could start over Rodgers by the end of the year, believe it or not.
Okay, well, once again now, we're at the value pick level, and we're looking at somebody that has not been picked because he gets dinged up quite a bit, but when he plays, he is wow. And that's Michael Vick. And this is where I think Michael Vick will fit nicely. And this is where you have to get a little creative and decide, okay, is Vick healthy? And if he's healthy, I'd run him until his ribs fall off.
Yeah. And if Vick lasts until the 9th round, I don't care if you have Brady and Rodgers at this point, you need to take him.
Yeah.
You need to have that quality there. All right, what are we looking at here? We got 3 running backs. Looks like we got 3 quality wideouts. You got the tight end. This is where I can see a team going after that second defense, and this is where I see a defense like Houston. Houston's defense is really liked by a lot of people this year. I'm not sure if I like them to go this high, but people will start to panic when a defense goes off the board. Houston will fall at this point.
Okay. Alrighty, well, moving along here, we're looking at a team that's got, who's the last guy here?
Antonio Brown was the last pick.
Antonio Brown, okay, so we got, looks like we're in need of another running back. And with that said, we're looking at, wow, I think Mark Ingram would fall nicely into this.
You got to worry about New Orleans running backs.
Running back by committee, but once again.
But Mark Ingram is going to be the main guy if anybody's going to be.
Well, I thought Darren Sproles was.
Well, Darren Sproles because of catching passes, but in terms of running the ball, I guess, it's going to be Ingram more than anybody else. We need another running back here, too, and this is where you're going to see an interesting pick that this guy I really think is going to be the starter anyway. Ryan Williams in Arizona. Beanie Wells still scares me. Ryan Williams has looked great. He missed his rookie year due to an injury. He's rehabbed. He's in good shape. I think you see Ryan Williams doing things. He's a good value pick.
Okay. In the 10th spot here, I see Kenny Britt falling nicely into this position, especially with the new quarterback that's going to be taking the helm, and Britt looks better than ever this year.
So Kenny Britt, and the second, make this the last pick that will do at least for Team J.
Has Jermichael Finley been taken off the board?
Yes, Finley is gone.
All right, let's see, where are we at here with our tight ends? Wow, Fred Davis.
Fred Davis still falling on the board.
Yeah, provided that he stays off the sticky icky.
Easier said than done, but hey, rookie quarterback's best friend for sure. Deshaun Jackson will go with Team I. This is again great value to make him last this long.
Okay, moving right along here. This is a team that's got Aaron Hernandez as a tight end. This is a time where I pick a second tight end, and I'd look at somebody like Joel Dreesen.
Joel Dreesen, you're really liking this guy. Tell us about him.
Well, this is a guy that I think has perhaps the upper hand right now over Jacob Tam, only because he's a little bit younger. He's also a guy that made some waves when Tebow was quarterbacking. So with Peyton Manning and the connection that Manning has with all of his tight ends, I see Dreesen having a phenomenal year this year.
All right, this next pick I'm going to put a asterisk beside because I think it's going to be way too early for him, especially when it hasn't been named for sure. But after seeing what he's done in the preseason so far, it's very tough not to take a little bit of a risk on this guy, especially when you need the backup quarterback here. I'm going to say Russell Wilson. He has looked really amazing up there in Seattle, and he doesn't play against very quality opponents.
You know what, with the NFC West out there, yeah, that would be a safe pick, to be honest with you. That would be a safe pick.
Your only worry is he definitely going to start, but after seeing what he's done and Matt Flynn not dressing last game, I think you got to look at Russell Wilson for sure.
Yep. Moving right along here, you have to take a look. You have Joe Flacco. I would actually look at somebody like Torrey Smith as a wide receiver.
A possible good combination pick with Flacco.
Right.
Very good. Let's move forward. What does this team need? I think you got 3 wideouts, you got 3 running backs. I think you need more depth in the running back at this point. And I look to take, again, somebody who could easily jump in, especially in injury concerns. This is where I take someone like C.J. Spiller.
Okay. You take Reggie Bush off the board here, too.
Who do we need off the board?
I'm sorry. Okay, you took Spiller? Okay, I thought Reggie Bush was still up there. Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right, not a problem. Okay, yeah. Moving along here, we're looking at a team it's a pretty well balanced team there with wide receivers. I would probably say this is where I look at another tight end. Only because they can get you some decent points, and this is where somebody like an Owen Daniels will come into play nicely. I like him, provided he stays healthy.
Provided he does, provided his quarterback stays healthy, too. It's a big question, right?
Right.
But you got to worry about that with anything.
But we're so deep right now.
Exactly. All right, I think you need to get some more wide receiver help on this next team, and somebody who does nothing but catch touchdown passes. First, I'm also considering someone like Eric Decker because he could provide great value. He has some good upside, but I'm also going to take somebody who I know is going to be consistent, and I'm going to take Lance Moore because he gets 7-8 touchdowns every year.
Yep.
He will provide me with a couple 0-point weeks, I understand that, but he's also going to get me some 14, 15 easily point weeks.
Okay. Moving along here, has Reggie Wayne been taken off the board?
Reggie Wayne is still there.
I would take Reggie Wayne here.
Again, great value there going down the end of the draft for sure. Let's see. I think this last team, we'll call it our Mr. Irrelevant because there would still be probably 4 or 5 more rounds to go. Robert Meacham in San Diego is very intriguing, but again, I just mentioned Eric Decker, somebody who has some great upside to look for. Is a good route to go.
Yep. Well,
And that's our first 10 rounds of a presumed probably 14-team mock draft. Where do you take your kickers, Greg?
We take our kickers, I'd say probably around 12 or 13.
12 or 13. I take mine 14 if I'm required, and don't take them at all if I'm not required. But that's your personal preference. You'll see that there are no 10 commandments of fantasy football. They're all about your personal strategy and what you like to do. Anything can be discussed in any way that you want.
Yeah, whatever works. That's the way. And once again, if you take a look at this mock draft, the middle rounds are heavy with wide receivers, only because there aren't that many strong running backs to work with at this particular time frame. There's a lot of serviceable running backs, but this is where you're going to be watching the waiver wire very closely. This is where the gamesmanship of the waiver wire comes into play. The Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning quarterback.
Especially when there's so many running backs who are splitting time, and when there's so many teams doing 3 wide receiver sets. The number 3 wide receiver in Green Bay is Donald Driver, and he can be easily drafted higher than some teams' number 1 running backs because the running backs split more time and get fewer touches than a number 3 receiver, believe it or not.
Precisely.
Well, I think that's going to about wrap it up here for our mock draft.
I think it's going to wrap this up here for our broadcast.
I think you're right. It's the sun's high. Time flies when you're having fun. You're talking fantasy football, and when you're listening to the roar of some beautiful cars flying by here.
Oh yeah, and just to give you an update on some upcoming features, Monday evening we are going to be talking with Doug Herbert, NHRA specialist, NHRA star, about the B.R.A.K.E.S program, and we'll hear Doug Herbert's story and his tragic loss of his 2 children due to careless drivers. We also heard the story of Sam with the B.R.A.K.E.S program, our local B.R.A.K.E.S program here in western Pennsylvania and eastern Ohio. So please stay tuned for that, and we'll also be recapping our fantasy draft that we have, and you'll see posted the 360 Sports Network fantasy draft, which will be happening later this afternoon.
So thanks again to everybody for letting us be a part of this. Thank you to Dale and to Scoutmasters and to all of Scout 101.
Dale and Jeff at Scout 101, and we have a 360 Sports Network trophy. it's been a great place.
It is. So stay tuned. More fantasy advice will be up and coming, of course, as it always will be throughout the season. We're here in Easton, Ohio. You know, we broadcast weekly on WBBW in Youngstown for all of your fantasy input. Call into the show, text us, tweet us, let us know your questions. We can only help you so much. We need to know your personal questions.
All right. Till then, we'll see you later.